All right, everybody, what is going on? Good morning. Happy Tuesday. We're moving past that big win last week. Looking forward to hopefully the next big win this upcoming weekend. But let's take a little bit of a detour here. Obviously, we're pretty locked in on this upcoming Seahawks-Rams conference championship game, but let's take a minute to discuss our other division rival. The other division rival that actually gives us trouble, the other division rival that is actually a good team right now. Let's talk a little bit about the 49ers. I don't think I have to explain why what they do has a non-trivial effect on the Seahawks. But yeah, what they do definitely matters to us. So let's take a look at this news. It broke last night. Thought about making a video late last night, but it was too late. I didn't think anybody was going to see it. So we're going to go ahead and talk about it a little bit now. The 49ers have lost their defensive coordinator. Again, Robert Saleh is going to Tennessee. All right, guys, before we go any further into this video, let's take a minute so I can tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. If you're not using Sleeper this year for daily fantasy, then you are missing out. Download the app and get ready to have more fun with sports this year. Make all kinds of picks on over-unders. Get on over there. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, whatever your sports fancy is. I've got some picks going for this week, the conference championship games. I got the over on Cooper Kupp. 30.5 receiving yards. I got Ken Walker scoring an anytime touchdown. I got Mevis over on the Rams kicking at least 2 field goals. And I got Drake May with the under on 227 passing yards. So get on over to Sleeper. Use promo code SBN, that is SBN, to get a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100 and go have more fun with sports this year. So what does this mean for the Seahawks? It means a couple of different things. I think there is a little bit of a Kubiak effect here because we have a lot of teams that need a new head coach, and the Titans were one of them. Now, the Titans were a team that never showed any interest in Kubiak. I don't believe they requested to interview him, so obviously they weren't really in the Kubiak hunt. But it is worth noting that as of right now, 3 of the 6 teams that interviewed Kubiak have made a head coaching hire. And I believe the 3 teams that are still waiting would be the Raiders, the Cardinals, and the Ravens. So it is worth noting that while Kubiak remains a very appealing prospect, and clearly a lot of teams really like him, his opportunities to land elsewhere are starting to dry up. And if we win this upcoming week and we go to the Super Bowl, it could be very hard for a team to actually wait for him because at a certain point you kind of panic because you're like, well, what if everybody else is gone and we don't get Kubiak and et cetera, right? That's the game. So there is a little bit of an effect there. Although, again, the Titans were not really hot to trot on Kubiak. But I think the bigger effect here is just on a division rival. A division rival has lost a very good coach from their staff. Now, the question that might be on a lot of people's minds is, do the 49ers get any draft picks out of this? The answer is actually no. Normally it would be yes, but Saleh was only on that staff for 1 year. You have to be on the staff for 2 years to get the 2 third-round picks. So therefore, Robert Saleh does not qualify. He does not give the Niners 2 third-round picks with his departure. So we don't have to think about that. That part doesn't matter. The only part that matters is that Robert Saleh, who was a very good defensive coordinator and I think a good coach in general, is now elsewhere. He goes over to the AFC, and Saleh, he was, I believe he was overqualified as a DC. And I know the Niners defense was not very good this last year, but I think that he did the best that he could with the defensive roster that he had to work with, especially after all the injuries happened. Like, you go back to week 1 when they were relatively healthy, that was great, right? They shut down a Seattle offense that went on to be one of the better offenses in football in 2025. Earlier in the season, they shut down Arizona. Not that Arizona had a very good offense this year, but before the injury started to pile up to Bosa and Warner, and then eventually Michael Williams and some guys in the secondary, that was a good defense. So Robert Saleh is a good coach, and now the 49ers have to replace him. And who they're going to replace him with, we don't know yet, obviously. This just happened. If you take a look at the guys that people are talking about for the most part, like if you go to this article from a Niners Wire, Kyle Madsen, you can see some of the names that are initially getting passed around here. Remember, the Niners, when they lost Robert Saleh last time, and they've gone through some pretty notable defensive coordinators in recent years, guys like D'Amico Ryans, and Robert Saleh, when they lost Saleh to the Jets and then D'Amico to the Texans, they had a little bit of a hard time replacing them, and I think that their inability to adequately replace those two has really hurt them. So this is actually pretty crucial here, and if they miss on this hire, then that definitely sets them back, and that obviously affects the Seahawks for reasons that are fairly obvious. So some of the names being thrown around right now to replace Saleh would be Jim Schwartz, who was in Cleveland. Obviously, Cleveland fired Stefanski, so they could be moving off of Schwartz as well. That would not be a surprise. Schwartz has been very successful in this league. He's been a head coach before. And this is a guy who, if you get him and he's good, you never really have to worry about him being a head coach again because he already failed pretty badly at it. So Jim Schwartz would be good. But on the other side of good would be somebody like Gus Bradley, who has been fired a lot in the last couple years. I think he's been fired 3 times in the last 6 years. This is another Pete Carroll acolyte. This is another Carroll guy like Robert Saleh is. So I understand that there would be some synergy between the Saleh defense and the Gus Bradley defense. But Bradley really has not done anything all that good since the Chargers in, man, that was almost 10 years ago, right? So Gus Bradley is on the list. That would be somebody that I think would be pretty bad for them. It would be in line with what they got from Nick Sorensen a year ago. You've got Raheem Morris. He obviously recently got let go as the Falcons head coach. He's another guy who will never get hired as a head coach again, you would think, because he hasn't been good at it. But as a defensive coordinator, he he seems like he's pretty good. He did some work with the Rams coaching staff that won the Super Bowl. He was with Shanahan on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington Redskins before they ever had head coaching opportunities. And I believe they were both on the staff in Atlanta under Dan Quinn. So Raheem Morris, interesting. Daniel Bullocks, I don't really know anything about, so I can't really speak to that. I don't know. I don't even know what his job is on the 49ers right now, but Daniel Bullocks is another name people are throwing around out there. I've heard KJ Wright could become defensive coordinator, which, I mean, that'd be kind of cool. I like KJ Wright. I'd be happy for him, but I don't know if that's a good idea for a team that will presumably have high aspirations in 2026. So definitely some variance here. You could end up getting somebody that is very accredited, very established, like a Jim Schwartz, like a Raheem Morris. There are going to be a couple other guys out there like that. Or you could get the Gus Bradley, who would basically just be getting promoted, and basically the Niners would just look around the room after Saleh leaves and go, okay, you're the defensive coordinator now. So definitely interested to see who they hire, but I'm happy that Robert Saleh is out of there because I think that he did a very good job this last year under brutal circumstances. Okay, so just wanted to detour real quick to talk about this. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Rooting for Robert Saleh in Tennessee as well, by the way. That's going to be a tough place to succeed, but seems like a good dude. And I think he's a good coach. I think he was a good coach with the New York Jets, and things just kind of got out of hand there for reasons that didn't have a lot to do with him. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Another video coming soon, but wanted to chime in on this one.